Chapter 6. The Habits That Get You Paid More and Promoted Faster. J. Paul Getty, the world's first billionaire, wrote, "The individual who wants to reach the top in business must appreciate the might of the force of habit, and must understand that practices are what create habits. He must be quick to break those habits that can break him, and hasten to adopt those practices that will become the habits that help him achieve the success he desires." Poet Robert W. Service once wrote, "He who would rule must learn to obey." The most successful executives, entrepreneurs, and managers are usually excellent employees on their way up. They learn the habits that enable them to make significant, valuable contributions to their companies and organizations, and as a result they get paid more and promoted faster than the people around them. This should be your goal as well. Most self-made millionaires are entrepreneurs who start and build their own successful businesses. But many self-made millionaires are salespeople and executives of thriving companies who do a first-rate job, make an excellent contribution, and get paid extremely well, both in the form of cash and stock. Only about 1% of the population has the temperament and abilities necessary for successful entrepreneurship, but fully 99% of the population can work well in a specific job or occupation. Because most people spend 95% of their life working for someone else, it's essential that you learn how to make yourself valuable and then indispensable. This is the key to your success at work. Your choices are unlimited. More than 200,000 different jobs and job categories exist in the United States alone. There are an unlimited number of things that you can do to earn a good living and achieve financial independence. You must therefore develop the habit of thinking about the work you would most love to do. Instead of accepting whatever job comes along, you should be continually thinking about your ideal job, exactly as if you could design it personally in every respect. The highest paid and most successful people in our society do what they love as much of the time as they possibly can. You should be continually standing back, examining yourself objectively, and then focusing on your own special talents and abilities. Each person is born with the ability to do one or more things in an exceptional fashion. Just as you have multiple intelligences, you have multiple abilities as well. You will only really be happy and successful when you find the kind of work that taps into the unique talents you have today or can develop tomorrow. The ideal job for you. Dr. Viktor Frankl, the founder of logotherapy, wrote that there are 4 types of jobs you can do. The first of these jobs are hard to learn and hard to do. This type of work would include a task like accounting or bookkeeping for a person who has no natural skill in that area. It would be hard to learn, and no matter how many years you did it, it would be hard to do. Many people find themselves in jobs or careers where they are mismatched in terms of their natural abilities and the job requirements. Their work is always hard and seldom satisfying. Don't let this happen to you. The second type of job Frankl identifies is a job that is hard to learn but easy to do. It may be a skill like typing or flying an airplane. It takes tremendous dedication and concentration to learn, but once you have mastered it, it's quite easy to do, hour after hour. Unfortunately, this type of job can be boring and unchallenging over time. It seldom causes you to stretch your capabilities and grow your talents. The third type of job you might find yourself in is a job that is easy to learn but hard to do. Physical labor falls into this category, like digging a ditch. It's often easy to learn to do a physically challenging job, but it's always hard to do no matter how long you do it. Think about chopping wood. The fourth job category, and the most important, are those tasks that you find easy to learn and easy to do. You learn them so easily and do them so naturally that you almost forget when and how you learned them in the first place. As you can imagine, the jobs and tasks that are easy to learn and easy to do are the best indicators of your natural talents and abilities. This is where you are the most likely to do the best job, get the best results, and be paid the most. Throughout your life and career, you must be continually analyzing your activities to identify those things you learn and do easily and from which you get the best results and rewards. This type of work is the key to career success. Focus on contribution. Even if you are running your own business, we teach in our business coaching programs your most important responsibility to yourself is to identify the few things that you do the most easily, that you enjoy, and that make the greatest contribution to your work or your company. Your job then is to organize your work day and your work life so that you spend your time doing more of the things that you do best and which you get the best results. This is the key to business success. The fact is, the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. The more time you spend thinking about who you are in terms of your natural talents and abilities and what you most want from your work, the better decisions you will make and the more you will accomplish. This way of thinking is essential in your choices of a job, a boss, an industry, and a career. Before you take your first job or when you change jobs in the course of your career, stop for a moment and draw a line under the past. Imagine that you are starting over with all the knowledge and skill you have accumulated to this date. Look around at all the opportunities that are open to you and then take your time in choosing the right job or business for you at your current level of knowledge, skill, and development. Invest your time and your life carefully. They are all you've got, and they are irreplaceable. Seek opportunity versus security. People are always asking me how they can make more money in their current jobs. I ask them what sort of jobs they do and what sort of companies they work for. They often tell me they are working in an industry where sales are flat or declining, and that they are working for a company that is not growing. Sometimes they are doing a job where the pay is largely fixed and in which there are few opportunities for advancement or higher income. In these cases, I have to tell them that they are in an unsatisfactory situation with a limited future. Look at the current job market. Which businesses and industries are growing in sales and popularity? What products and services are selling well? What companies have increasing profits and rising stock prices? What states or regions of the country have the most companies and industries that seem to be prospering? If you sincerely want to become a millionaire, you must be prepared to make important changes, including moving to another part of the country if necessary. You must be prepared to leave a job or an industry if the prospects for that industry are declining. You must be honest with yourself. Many people have totally changed their lives, dramatically increased their incomes, put their careers onto the fast track, and moved rapidly toward financial independence by making major changes in where they were working or what they were doing. Ignore the past and focus on the future. There's a concept in accounting called a sunk cost. These costs are defined as money that has been spent and cannot be recouped. They are funds that are gone forever in a company like last year's advertising. They cannot be retrieved. They have no value. They are sunk, as if in a deep ocean. You have sunk costs in your career as well. You may have invested weeks, months, or even years in getting an education or acquiring experience in a particular field. But the market has changed, and there may be little demand for your area of expertise. No one is willing to hire you or pay you very much to do it. Many people have invested an enormous amount of time and money developing talents and skills for which there is no existing or future market. But they have a hard time facing this fact or admitting it to themselves or others. Practice zero-based thinking regularly. One of the most important habits you can develop is the habit of zero-based thinking. In zero-based thinking, you put every one of your previous decisions on trial for its life on a regular basis. You ask this question: is there anything that I am doing today that, knowing what I now know, I would not get into again today if I had to do it over? Apply this question to every part of your career, especially to your job, position, career, and current situation. If you are not now doing what you are currently doing, would you get into it again today, knowing what you now know about this area? Asking and answering this question takes a good deal of courage. Most people are not able to do it. The fact is that in a world of rapid change, you will always have situations that, with your current knowledge, you wouldn't get into again if you had the choice. These situations will almost always be the primary causes of stress and dissatisfaction in your life. They will cause you the most aggravation and frustration. If you stay in a zero-based situation long enough, it can even make you physically ill. If the answer to the above question is yes, then your next question should be, how do I get out of this situation and how fast can I do it? Often you can change your entire life by simply having the courage to face up to the fact that your previous decision has not turned out to be as good as you originally thought it would be. There's nothing wrong with this. You're not perfect. Everyone makes decisions they later regret. The only question is, how long are you going to stay in a situation that you know is not right for you? It's not possible for you to be successful and happy in your career or job if, knowing what you now know, you wouldn't even get into it if you had to do it over. Getting the ideal job for you. Once you have decided what you most enjoy doing, what you have the potential to do extremely well, the part of the country where you would like to live, and the type of business you would like to work in, the next step is to begin the process of informational interviewing. Instead of applying for a job in a specific company, you merely seek information about what is going on in that company or industry. Think of yourself as a reporter in the process of gathering information to write a story. Begin your search by calling up a decision maker in the company in an industry that interests you and saying something like this: I'm doing some research on this business or industry, and I would very much like to get a few minutes of your time to ask you how you see your business evolving and developing in the future. You will be amazed at how willing people are to talk to you about their company. After you've spoken to people in several companies, you will have an excellent information base that will enable you to determine first whether you want to work in that industry, and second, which company you would like to work for. Many years ago, new in town and with no experience in the business, I conducted this process with the top 4 companies in the commercial real estate industry. Within 1 month, I received job offers from all 4 companies and accepted the one with the best reputation and the toughest hiring standards. This method really works. Remember, your time is your life. Choose your job with care. You're going to be exchanging a certain amount of your life for that job, and your time is more important than the money you will receive for doing it. Money can be replaced, but time spent is gone forever. Take the time to choose well. In taking a new job, choose your boss with care. One of the fastest ways to move ahead rapidly in your career is to work for an excellent boss. An excellent boss is invariably someone who is competent and capable, positive and constructive, and under whom you can learn and grow at a rapid rate. Most successful people can tell you of bosses who became key factors in their subsequent success. On the other hand, some people fall into the habit of taking whatever job is offered to them when they need work and then working for whichever boss they happen to get. They take whatever assignments are given to them and accept whatever hours or working conditions are offered. Instead of being self-reliant and self-determined, they become reactive and accepting. Instead of seeing themselves as responsible and in charge of their own careers, they begin to see themselves as passive agents, merely doing what they are told. This is definitely not for you. 2 habits for rapid advancement. Over the years, I've been invited to speak to graduating classes of business students. They invariably ask me for advice on how to get ahead in the world of work. I will tell you what I tell them. You can develop 2 habits to help you get ahead faster than any success secrets you will ever learn. These habits will serve you well as an employee, a manager or executive, or an entrepreneur and business owner. They're simple, easy to learn, and incredibly powerful. Habit 1. Remember that the normal hours of work are simply averages, and they are for average employees. They have nothing to do with you. If the workday starts at 8:30, you should be at work and busy by 8 o'clock or earlier. You should work steadily all day long. If the workday ends at 5 o'clock, you should continue working until 5:30 or 6 or even later. The simple act of starting earlier, working harder, and staying later will increase your productivity by anything from 50 to 100%. The people who are in the best position to help you get ahead will soon notice these work habits. They will give you an edge over any of your coworkers. Habit 2. As soon as you feel you are on top of your work, go to your boss and say the magic words, "I want more responsibility." Say you very much like your job and you want to make an even more valuable contribution to the company. You are not asking for more money or for special recognition. You simply want more responsibility. Take the initiative and get the job done fast. Remember, I talked about the importance of action orientation and taking initiative. In every job, in every area, in every field, these qualities cause you to stand out favorably from everyone else around you. Whether you work for someone else or run your own business, taking responsibility and getting the job done fast will do more to help you get paid more and promoted faster than any other 2 habits you can develop. Fast-tracking my career. Many years ago, I went to work for a large company with about 200 employees. I was the low man on the totem pole. I was stuck in a tiny office in the back with a desk, a chair, and no pictures on the wall. I was given a variety of small tasks that changed from week to week. Feeling a little frustrated after a couple of weeks of this, I went to my boss, the chairman of the company, and told him I was caught up with my work and I wanted more responsibility. The fact is, I liked to work, and I was bored. I wanted to be busier and more active. My desire for more responsibility was perfectly selfish. I remember my boss nodded and smiled and told me he would think about it. But nothing happened. Thereafter, every couple of days when I met with my boss, I would end the conversation by saying, "By the way, I would really like more work to do, more responsibility." Finally, about 2 weeks after I began this campaign, my boss asked if I would take care of something for him that was outside my basic job description. I thanked him heartily, took the task back to my office, and began work on it. And I developed a habit that changed my life. As soon as I received the additional responsibility I had been asking for, I started doing the job quickly and well. I worked late into the night and over the weekend to get it finished in an excellent fashion and get it back to my boss. He had given me the task on a Friday afternoon. By Monday morning, I had it completed and typed up so it was on his desk when he arrived. Later, in passing, he mentioned that he hadn't needed it done immediately, but he thanked me for getting it done so quickly. Keep asking for more. Later that week, he complimented me once more on how well and how quickly the job had been done. I used this as an opportunity to immediately ask for more. Soon he gave me another job, and then another, and then another. In every case, whenever he gave me a job to do, I grabbed it like a fumble in a football game and ran for yards. I took the job and immediately went to work on it, completing it quickly and getting it back to him long before he needed it. This did not go unnoticed. In addition, I began observing some of the tasks that took up his time, and without asking, I began working on them and completing them as well, so they were done when he got in the morning. I answered correspondence, dealt with client service problems, visited customers, and gathered information to save him time. This did not go unnoticed either. Your chance will come. Then one day, a major potential project came up, and he asked me if I was interested in taking charge of it. It was in an area where I had never worked before, but I immediately agreed. I then threw my whole heart into doing the job quickly and well. After that, I was given another project, and then another, and then still another. By the end of the year, I had 3 divisions of the company working under me. I had moved into the second largest office in the building and had a staff of 23 people. I was operating a business that was generating many millions of dollars in sales and profitability. By developing a reputation as being the go-to guy in the company, the one who got things done faster and better than anyone else, my star rose and rose and rose. My income doubled and tripled. I received bonuses and special incentives that enabled me to buy a new house and a Mercedes. Sometime later, I was hired away by the president of another major corporation at triple what I was earning in my current job. I later learned that my former boss had ended up paying me more in salaries and bonuses than he'd ever paid an employee during his 25-year career. And I earned every penny of it by asking for more responsibility and then getting the job done quickly and well. You can do the same. In Larry Bossidy's best-selling book, Execution, based on his many years of running Fortune 500 corporations, he writes that the most valuable people he has ever met in business are those rare few who have developed the habit of fulfilling their responsibilities and getting the job they were hired to do done quickly. In every case of successful people in business, this single characteristic seems to stand out. All successful people in any job, in any organization, take responsibility and move quickly to fulfill those responsibilities and get the required results. And in business, results are everything. Don't waste time. One of the most important habits you can develop, which will help you in any job, is the habit of working all the time you work. According to Robert Half International, the average employee works only 50% of the time. The other 50% of working time is largely wasted. It's spent in idle conversation with coworkers, sometimes as much as half the time. It's spent in constantly checking and rechecking email, late arrival, extended coffee breaks and lunches and early departures. It's dribbled away making private phone calls, reading the newspaper, taking care of personal business, and surfing the internet. Only half of the time for which the average person is paid is actually spent on work-related activities. Even worse, when the average person is actually working, he prioritizes the tasks that are fun and easy rather than the jobs that are hard and important. Most people major in minors and work on low-priority activities. When you discipline yourself to focus on high-priority tasks and make every minute count, you'll immediately separate yourself from everyone else and take full control of your career and your future. Resolve to work all the time you work. Start a little earlier, and when you get to the office, go to work immediately. If someone wants to talk to you, say you would like to chat, but not right now. Right now, you have to get back to work. Keep repeating to yourself the mantra, back to work, back to work, back to work. Tell your coworkers that you can socialize with them after work if you have the time, and then get back to work. Be a hard worker. Imagine that a management consulting firm is going to come into your company and do a survey 1 year from today. In this survey, they're going to ask everyone in the company to rank everyone else in the company in terms of who works the hardest, all the way down to who works the least hard. Imagine that your goal is to come out on the top of this survey. Every single day you're at work, imagine that you are being watched with hidden cameras. At the end of the month or the year, a vote is going to be taken on the hardest working person in the company. Your job is to be sure you win this vote. Nothing will bring you to the attention of people who can help you faster than developing a habit for hard work. In every study of successful people, whether they are athletes, executives, entrepreneurs, or self-made millionaires in any field, the most obvious habit they have is that they work much longer and harder than their co-workers. Join the elite. There have been many studies about wealth and poverty in the United States and worldwide. These studies try to explain income distribution and are often used as the basis for welfare payments, unemployment compensation, and levels of taxation. Again and again, these studies show that the highest paid people in most fields work about 60 hours a week. The lowest paid people, the ones at the poverty line, work fewer than 25 hours per week. The highest paid households in America have 2 or more people who work long, hard hours. The poorest households in America are those with perhaps one wage earner who works only a few hours per week. There's a direct relationship between how hard you work and how much you are paid, as well as a direct relationship between how hard you work and how rapidly you are promoted. There's also a direct relationship between how hard you work and the value of the contribution you make to your company. People who work long hours are invariably more valuable, paid more, and promoted faster than people who do not. The key to career success. Andrew Grove, the former longtime CEO of Intel, was interviewed in Fortune magazine some time ago and asked what he felt had been the biggest changes that had taken place in the world of work in the past decade. He answered, "In my estimation, the 2 most important changes were these. First of all, every person today is now the architect of his or her own career. Each person has to see himself or herself as completely responsible for everything that happens to them, especially for their own work habits and their own training and development. No one can rely on a company taking care of them throughout their careers." His second observation was even more important. He said that today, the key to success in any job is to add value. At one time, you could get a job, reach a certain level of accomplishment, and then coast for months and even years on your previous achievements. Today, however, you must be looking for ways to add value every single day. Your company no longer cares what you might have accomplished in the past. The main question today is, what have you done for me lately? Gary Hamel and the late C.K. Prahaled were 2 of the top strategic thinkers in the world in their day. In their book, Competing for the Future, they write that a company's key to competitive advantage is to project forward 5 years and identify the core competencies and skills it will need to be a market leader at that time. By the same token, one of the most important habits you can develop is the habit of looking forward 3 to 5 years and identifying the additional skills and competencies that you will need to be at the top of your field at that time. What are the trends in your industry? What are the skills possessed by the highest paid people in your industry today? Where is your industry going, and what will you have to be absolutely superb at doing 3 to 5 years from now if you want to earn an excellent income? These are the key questions that determine the direction of your career. The race is on. Former management writer and guru Peter Drucker wrote, "The only skill that will be important in the 21st century is the skill of learning new skills. Everything else will become obsolete over time." It's been said often that whatever got you to where you are today is not enough to keep you there. Management author Tom Peters says, "Whatever you are doing well today, you'll have to be doing it vastly better 1 year from today if you want to keep your current position. The race is on, and you are in it." Continually look for ways to add value, to contribute more than you are contributing today. Never forget that you are a knowledge worker, and the value of your work is not determined by the hours you put in, but by the results that you get out of those hours. Make a habit of focusing on the most important and valuable results you can accomplish in your position. Keep looking forward and identifying the additional skills and abilities you can develop that will enable you to add more value by getting even better and more important results. This is the way to put yourself on the side of the angels and put your career onto the fast track. Look like a winner. One of the most important million-dollar habits you can develop, which can have an inordinate effect on how fast you move onward and upward, has to do with your personal appearance and image. You must develop the habit of dressing like a person who is going somewhere in life. Human beings are intensely visual. We are inordinately influenced by the external appearance of other people. Some surveys suggest that we form our first impression in the first 4 seconds of meeting a person, and then we finalize our conclusions about that person in the first 30 seconds. After we have made a judgment about someone, our mind then strives to justify the decision we have already made. Something quite abrupt or shocking must occur for us to alter our first impression. Sometimes people say, well, people should not judge me by the way I look on the outside. Well, this is a nice idea, but the fact is that you judge everyone you meet by the way they look on the outside, usually within 30 seconds. It's just the way our minds work. One of the rules for success is everything counts. Everything helps or hurts. Everything adds up or takes away. Everything is either moving you toward a goal of your choosing or moving you away from that goal. Everything counts. This rule is as applicable in the way you look as in any other area. In the image you project, everything counts as well. If it doesn't help, it hurts. One of the smartest career makes you can make is to purchase a couple of books on personal image and then follow the advice to select your clothes, your grooming, your makeup, and your accessories so that you look like the kind of person who is competent, efficient, and trustworthy. Human beings tend to be incredibly perceptive, and we are very much influenced by the external appearance of others. When you take the time and effort to dress well and to look the part of a capable person, you open doors for yourself that might otherwise remain closed. What every company wants. Business owners and executives want to be proud of their staff. Many people work hard and do a good job, but are passed over for promotion year after year because of their external appearance. They are often overweight and unkempt. Their hair is too long or poorly cared for. Their clothes and accessories are ill-fitting and do not coordinate well. Their shoes are unpolished or mismatched to their clothes or position. As a result, the people around them, especially their superiors, immediately discount their value and ignore their opinions. In Chapter 7 and 8, we will talk about building a business and about sales and marketing. In those chapters, I'll explain the importance of positioning and branding in selling a product or service. Both concepts are applicable to you personally and in your work life as well. Here's an exercise. Think about taking a picture of yourself as you show up for work in the morning. Imagine circulating that picture to others and asking, what kind of a person is this? How would people who don't know you describe you after looking at a photograph of you the way you normally appear at work? Would they say, this is an excellent, well-organized, high-performing individual, or would they say something less flattering? Look at your workspace or desk, your briefcase or car. Ask, what kind of a person works in an environment or drives a car like that? Would an objective third-party observer look at your workspace and say, you are a highly efficient, productive, and well-organized person? Or would they say something else? An outside evaluation. Here's another exercise. Imagine an outside firm of consultants were to interview all your coworkers and ask them this question. What words would you use to describe that person? What words do people use to describe you in your absence? Based on their experience with you, your character, and your work habits, how do people talk about you to others when you're not there? How would you like them to talk about you? What words would you like them to use? What words would help your career if used when your coworkers described you to others? Finally, how could you develop the habits of walking, talking, dressing, working, and behaving in such a way that others describe you in the most positive and flattering of terms. Would it be helpful to you if people were to say, he or she is extremely competent, efficient, honest, friendly, helpful, and get things done quickly and well? How could you change or restructure your appearance and work habits so that sometime in the future, these are the words people use when they think and talk about you? What steps could you take immediately to begin associating these words with you in people's minds? Be a good team player. One of the most important habits you can develop during your career is the habit of working well with other people. Your ability to be a good team player early in your career and a good team player later in your career will do as much to increase your value to your company as any other habit or skill you can develop. In times of economic turbulence and large-scale layoffs, researchers have found that the last people to be let go from any organization are the most popular and helpful people. The people who are kept on the longest, irrespective of economic conditions, are always the ones who are liked the most and who get along with the greatest number of people. Your job is to be one of those people. Focus on customer service. Sometimes I ask my audience members, how many people here work in customer service? Very few hands go up. I then point out that everyone is in the business of customer service. Everyone is in the business of serving customers no matter what you do in your organization. Develop the habit of seeing everyone around you as a customer of some kind and seeing yourself as a customer service specialist. A customer can be defined as anyone you depend upon for your success at work and anyone who depends upon you for their success at work or in the outside world. By this definition, you have several different customers. First, there are your external customers. These are the people who buy and use the product or service your company produces. Satisfying these people is indispensable to your success. Those people who are the most vital to serving the company's customers are always the most valuable and appreciated. You also have another set of customers within your organization. These customers are your boss, your co-workers, and your subordinates. You depend upon each of these people for your success, and to a certain degree, each of them depends upon you. The more and better you serve your internal customers, the more productive and valuable you will be to your company. Your best customer. Begin with your boss. He is your most important customer. You can fail to satisfy every other customer in your organization, but as long as your boss continues to like and support you, your job will be safe. On the other hand, you can please every other person inside and outside your company, but if you do not satisfy your boss, your job will be in jeopardy. Your boss is therefore your number one customer. Here's an exercise. Draw up a list of everything you feel you have been hired to do. Take this list to your boss and ask him or her to rank it based on their priorities. Ask her to start with your number one most important output responsibility, and then have her choose your second most important task, and so on. Very few people do this with their bosses. When you approach your boss with this exercise, she will be both flattered and somewhat amused. But if you persist in working through this list of tasks with your boss, you will both emerge from the meeting with a much better understanding of your true priorities at work. From then on, develop the habit of always working on your boss's number one task. If your boss asks you to do a new job, immediately ask what order of priority the new task has in comparison with the other work you are already doing. Make it clear that your primary aim is to work on what your boss considers to be the most important and valuable use of your time. Help others to be effective. If you have a staff of your own, perform the same exercise with them. Have each of them draw up a list answering the question, why am I on the payroll? Go over these descriptions with each of your staff members and help them organize their lists by priority. From then on, Do everything possible to ensure that each of your staff members is working on what you consider to be the most important thing they can be doing to make the most valuable contribution possible to your organization. Your coworkers are also your customers because you depend on them for certain things. You should always be looking for ways to help them do their jobs more effectively. By the law of reciprocity, which says that people always strive to reciprocate for anything you do for them, they will then look for ways to help you do your job even better. In the book Power and Influence, Beyond Formal Authority by John Cotter, the author concluded that power in an organization was based on what he called managed dependencies. This referred to people you could influence but had no control over. They were not dependent upon you for their jobs or incomes. These were people who were independent of you, but whose help and cooperation you required if you wanted to succeed. Make up a list of all the people inside and outside your organization whose assistance, cooperation, and support you need to do your job as well as you possibly can. You should then make a habit of cultivating these people and looking for ways to help them better fulfill their responsibilities as well. Sowing and reaping. In Chapter 1, I said that the law of cause and effect is the grandfather law of Western philosophy, the iron law of the cosmos. The biblical version of this law is the law of sowing and reaping. This law says, "Whatsoever you sow, that also shall you reap." In the world of work, this means that whatever you put in or do for others will eventually come back to you. Note that the law of sowing and reaping has a specific order. First you sow, then you reap. Many people try to reap before they sow, or even without sowing at all. But this is not the way the world or the universe works. First you look for ways to help other people, and then almost automatically people will be predisposed to helping you when the time arises. One of the great rules for success is this: the more you give of yourself without expectation of return, the more good will come back to you from the most unexpected sources. Develop the habit of looking for ways to put in more than you get out, to sow more than you reap, to go the extra mile, and to always do more than you are paid to do. If you do that, you will be setting yourself up to be paid more in the future. Continually look for ways to add value. President of your own company. One of the most important habits you can develop to succeed in your company is the habit of viewing yourself as self-employed. See yourself as the president of your own personal services corporation. Act as if you own 100% of the shares of the company you work for. Treat the company as if it belongs to you in every respect. By developing the habit of seeing yourself as self-employed, you take complete responsibility for yourself, your company, and your career. By taking that responsibility and seeing yourself as the president of your own business, you change your personality and your character. Your attitude improves, and your actions become more focused, efficient, and deliberate. A study conducted in New York some years ago concluded that only 3% of employees see themselves as self-employed. Those 3% always seem to be paid more and promoted faster. They are the ones who take personal responsibility and personal initiative. They are action-oriented in looking for ways to contribute more value to their companies. They seek out additional training experiences to increase the quality and quantity of results they can get in their jobs. When you view yourself as the president of your own company, completely responsible for your own job and your own results, you will quickly come to the attention of the people who can help you the most. Doors of opportunity will open for you. You will be promoted to positions of higher responsibility and authority. You will be more respected and esteemed by the most important people around you. You will eventually leave everyone else behind. Be positive and cheerful. Perhaps the most helpful decision you can make is to develop the habit of being a pleasant, positive person. Refuse to criticize, condemn, or complain. Do not engage in gossip or gripe sessions with your coworkers. Imagine that everything you say at work will be repeated and sent out to everyone via email. Guard your tongue. Instead, look for something good to say about everyone. Always be cheerful and friendly. Be patient and easygoing. Be polite and courteous. Be thoughtful and considerate. Be the kind of person everyone likes to have working for them or likes to work for or with. In our modern business world, it's always the people who are competent, capable, likable, and pleasant who are paid the most and promoted the fastest. Make it a habit to look for the good in every person and situation. Keep focused on helping other people and add value to your company. These habits will help you as much or more than anything else you could do. Now, here are some action exercises for you. Determine what you find easy to learn and easy to do, and what you most enjoy at work. Find a job doing more of that. Identify your unique talents and abilities, and dedicate yourself to becoming absolutely excellent in those areas. Develop the habit of continually asking for and accepting more responsibility for results. Then, move quickly when you get an opportunity to perform. Get the job done fast. The faster you move, the more energy you have, the more you get done, and the faster you will be paid more and promoted to higher levels of responsibility. Work all the time you work. When you start earlier, work harder, and stay later, you quickly separate yourself from all the others. Develop the habit of working well with others. Always look for ways to contribute and help others to do their jobs better and faster. Focus on satisfying your customers at work, both inside and outside the company. Peter Drucker wrote, "Work is an extension of personality. It is achievement. It is one of the ways in which a person defines himself or herself and measures his worth and his humanity."